Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. It is Sat Chat time, and I'm in a much better mood than last week. Thank you so much for indulging my whiny rant. I needed that. And thank you for all your comments. Wow, that was just it was so nice to just chat with everyone in the comments and know that I am not in this alone. Oh my gosh. I think they need to have a public service announcement in some show that husbands watch. I don't know, maybe some sort of sports. I don't know, what's baseball? Well, I know women watch baseball too. I'm not being sexist. We all watch what we want to watch and you do you and all of that. But I think there needs to be some public service announcement that is sent out to all the husbands of the world, and maybe some wives, that says, do not ask your spouse what's for dinner. If you value your health and their mental health, do not ask them what's for dinner. That is universally the most hated 3 words that I think any wife wants to hear. So funny. Oh my gosh, that resonated with you guys. There were so many people like, oh, if I have to hear what's for dinner one more time. Oh, I'm so glad I am not alone. I've taken to trying to figure out what I want to make for dinner in the morning while I still have decisions left and just kind of write it on a sticky note. That way it's not like a chore at the end of the day. It's like, oh yeah, I've got that. That's settled. That is figured out. And speaking of decisions, another one of you guys came up with a great idea and said, just have Jason pick the car. So as you know, we've been looking to choose a car, my husband and I, looking to choose a car to share so our daughters can have our cars. One daughter's gotten her license already. Her twin has a test next week. We had, we're a 3-car family, and we let our son use our Camry, and then we had a truck and a minivan. And so Macy's been using the minivan, and then Lila will probably use the truck. And, you know, they're going to practices. They have different things they need to go to. It is very handy when they can drive themselves. And I work from home. I don't drive every day. And especially with Maisie having her license, I haven't left the house much, which was probably part of my problem of why I was so cranky last week. I just haven't had a change of scenery. So Jason, I looked at Jason this weekend and I said, why don't you just go pick a vehicle that you're going to be happy with? I really don't have a preference. The reason I was leaning towards a Prius was because it was a friend of ours selling it and I trust my friend, and, you know, I wouldn't even have to go to a car lot. You know, I was very, I don't know, I was just very disgusted by the fact that a lot of these lots didn't put prices on their used cars. The Toyota dealership did, so that was the only one I was even considering, was the Toyotas, because I'm like, they put a price on their cars. I trust that way more than places that don't. But Jason did research. He checked what prices should be for certain cars. He's wanted a Jeep Cherokee or Jeep Grand Cherokee, and so he did his research and he found a beautiful 2018 Jeep Grand Cherokee. He loves it. It's a really fancy, nice car. It's definitely going to be able to deal with all of the weather in Maine, the snow. I haven't bottomed my van out, but I have torn the bumper off before, going down like some camp roads to try to get to water access before. You know, you just end up, there's a lot of like just back roads and really shoddily maintained roads you have to encounter in Maine, especially if you want to go kayaking or swimming, you know, and that's just how it is. So that's going to be really handy for our lifestyle. And yeah, it's a little precious though. I'm not going to be taking it down any back roads right off because I don't want to scratch it. But yeah, it's nice. It's fancy. It's got heated seats, which is crazy, and a heated steering wheel, which I'm gonna have to make sure that I don't have that turned on when I'm driving because I'd be afraid I'd get sleepy being all warm like that. But yeah, it's beautiful. I'm happy. He's happy. It works, and I didn't have to make the decision, so that's even better. So I'm in a much better mood this week. Thank you so much for letting me vent last week. It was nice to not feel so alone reading the comments in the chat, or in the comment section below the video. I always love that anyway after Sat Chat, because it's so nice to connect with everybody, see what you guys have been doing during the week. But I think what the feelings that I expressed were pretty universal for a lot of my viewers. So thank you guys for chiming in. I do appreciate it. I got a few emails. They were so sweet, and thank you for the support. And now I'm back to my regular scheduled programming. Oh, speaking of, well, no, I guess it's not speaking of anything we've talked about so far, but I have a sale on my soft pastel for beginners class. I went and a lot of pastel artists will tell you that you should break your pastels, take the wrappers off as soon as you get them. But I don't. I haven't. I've always just used them right out of the box, and I'll peel off a bit when I need to access more pastel. I usually don't break them on purpose. Some pastels can be kind of crumbly and fall apart when you take the wrapper off. But anyway, I thought, you know what? I'm not using my pastels that much. I want to use them more. Maybe that would kind of give me that kind of kick in the pants, take off some of the preciousness on some of them, and kind of get me moving. So and also something that irritated me was that the way I had gotten a new set of pastel drawers, because I needed like one more drawer, but each chest has like 3 drawers in it. And when I had organized them in kind of a rainbow order, but I didn't pay attention to what drawers went in what chest. They all look the same, but they're not. They don't all fit in all the slots. You have to kind of put the drawers into the chest that they came with. And so I did that, figured out what order they go in, and then I reorganized them in rainbow order, took the wrappers off, broke them. So I would have like different size pieces to swoosh across the paper. And that was a very enjoyable task. I don't know what it is about putting things in rainbow order, but man, I felt pretty good after I did that. And I'm like, oh, I gotta do some pastel work. And I'm like, oh, I gotta put that pastel class on sale. And then maybe some other people will want to do pastel work with me. So if you use the coupon code April Showers, you can get 50% off either the one-time purchase or the payment plan on soft pastels for beginners. I will put a link in the video description that will have the coupon code attached. But if for some reason you do not see the 50% off coupon or deal show up, then just type that in on the checkout page where it says add coupon. You click on that and just type in April Showers if it isn't already showing the discount. So so there's that, and hopefully you'll find that inspiring. I know I'm looking forward to. And speaking of pastels, I did this work here. This is up in Critique Club right now. It is an oil pastel on pastel mat, and I used and I think you might have seen this in my soft pastel comparison. I used from cheap to pricey pastels to make this. It was really fun. So the real-time version of this is in, and sorry for those noises. I forgot to silence my phone. Where was I? This is in Critique Club. There you go. It's up right now, and you can follow along real time in Critique Club, or I will have a time lapse tomorrow on my YouTube channel if you just want to see kind of how it went together. I know some people from Critique Club like to watch the time lapse first, so they kind of know what they're in for, and then they'll paint along. But these were done with oil pastels, and that's another thing I've really been interested in. Oh, and speaking of pastels, so remember I was talking about getting some fancy crayons. I did that video where I made this crayon sunset, and I was like, I think I want those Neocolor ones. Should I buy them? They're kind of pricey. Will I use them? Just kind of going back and forth. Oh my gosh. I'm like, I don't know. I have so many supplies. Should I really buy them? And then I was thinking, maybe that will give me a lift. Maybe I'll buy a set and try them out. And I got an email from a viewer, and this is crazy. She so generously offered me a set that she said she ordered by mistake. And I was like, I don't know, they're pretty expensive. Are you sure you're not going to use them? And she's like, no, I'd love to give them to you. And so I'm like, okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much. That would be great. That's the way I could try them out. If I like them, I could buy the rest of them. And thinking like probably some 10 or 15 or something like that, because if you order them by mistake, you probably just return them unless it was a big hassle. Well, look what I got. Oh my word. I'm a stranger on the internet, and an entire set of 40 Neocolor ones rather, and they are gorgeous. I tried them out. I couldn't help myself. I had to try them out. They weren't even used. They had the cellophane on them. I couldn't even believe it. I was like, holy cow. I was just like, wow, that is so generous. And I was just taken back. So I'm thinking, that'll be cool. I'll get like a set of 10 or 15, and then I'll just purchase some other colors to go with them. And it's like the entire set, the entire collection. So Lori, thank you. That was so very kind, so incredibly generous to reach out to a stranger on the internet and offer them such a beautiful gift. So thank you. So you'll be seeing those in some upcoming tutorials. And I cut right away. I had a bunch of these little bluebirds stamped out, and so I colored one. This is on Bristol, so it's pretty smooth, and the coverage was amazing on such a smooth paper too. So I'm really going to be looking forward to doing some artwork with these. I decided to compare them to my art sticks right off the bat, and comparable, but I did find the Neocolor ones to be softer than the art sticks. They were more of a harder And the funny thing about the art sticks, I almost feel like they feel almost a little bit harder than a Prismacolor. These are softer than a Prismacolor pencil. So I think all three of those are going to play really nicely together. I know Caran d'Ache products are more light fast than Prismacolor products. So that'll be nice too to have that kind of more light fast option. But man, I just loved the laydown of them. They were just so wonderful. And if you're wondering why I had a full sheet of these little bluebirds stamped out, which I cut them out with my skin and cut afterwards. I don't know what I'm going to do with these, but I did a video, I'm not sure when it's going to come out, but when I did the colorless blender, the alcohol-based colorless blender video a couple weeks ago, I asked if anyone would be interested in a water-based colorless blender video because, let's see, do I have one right here I can show you? I know I do, but man, oh man, they kind of disappear. So marker companies have these markers and all they have is like the vehicle in them. So an alcohol colorless blender would just have like, I think it's really like a ethanol or a really high % alcohol plus glycerin to help lubricate the paper. That's what's in the alcohol ones, and then in the water-based ones, it's like water and glycerin, so the glycerin just helps lubricate the paper so that you don't pill. And these blending markers, if you're expecting them to blend things, you generally will get a little frustrated because that's not the best use of them. There's other things to use them for with your media. So I just filmed a video on the colorless blender, water-based blender, because I already did the alcohol one. So that's going to be coming up soon. I think I gave 6 or 7 different ideas or different ways to use the water-based colorless blender. So hopefully that will be helpful if you've got water-based markers or you've got one of these clear blending markers and you don't exactly know what to do with it. Maybe it never gets used and just sits and collects dust, or maybe it's dried up because you haven't used it. I'll tell you how to rejuvenate them as well. And I just rejuvenated all my blenders. I had quite a few because I had a friend who used to sell Stampin' Up, and when she got out of it, she sold me all of her her leftover ones, and that was great because I did have a few. I think I had like a 3-pack or something, but they were really handy, and I do like to have those for classes because they're really handy. It's so much nicer than having to have a bucket of water. Now these aren't water brushes, they are like a marker, like a felt tip marker, but they work really well for certain techniques. They don't work well for certain techniques, so it's nice to kind of see what they will and won't work for. So look forward to that video probably next week. I imagine that's probably where I'm gonna put it up there because I don't think I have another card making video going up this coming week. I don't think I have any in the hopper either because I finally did a premiere. Actually, just before I filmed this, I did the premiere of that chipboard video that was processing forever. I uploaded it on March 15th and played beautifully on my computer before I uploaded it. And there's a glitch on YouTube with longer videos over an hour kind of freezing, and the video will freeze and the audio will keep going. And they had this glitch in the past, but all you had to do is change your playback speed. So like if you were watching it at 720, if you put it to like 1080 or you put it to 350 or 420 or something, whatever those numbers are, like either increased it or decreased it, it would play smoothly. But that doesn't help in this new glitch. I don't know what it is. I've contacted the live support that they have in your channel dashboard, which is a robot, the robot Marge, remember her? And so I got no help. So I was just trying to wait it out. And then I'm like, well, maybe, because it's happened before and it was like a day after I published it, I premiered it, it was smooth. And so I'm thinking maybe I just have to do that. So I did premiere it. So there was some freezing of the video at the end, and I'm hoping it will correct itself. So if you watch it today, hopefully it'll be smooth. The first hour and 20 minutes was fine. I think I'm going to try to keep my videos under an hour, which is probably, probably what I should be doing anyway. But, with something like that, I'm like using up chipboard. Look at all these ways we can use it. It takes time to go through all those examples, and I know a lot of people like to just put the video on and listen while they're crafting. I like to do that. I like to put on those like longer vlogs on people's channels and put them on and just have them play when I am when I'm crafting. It's nice. It's like company, and I can look up if something sounds interesting that they're talking about. For the most part, I'll do my thing. I'll just kind of peek over there when I hear something, and it's just kind of like having a little company. I think during the pandemic, we all kind of need that little bit of company. It just, it just makes the day a little nicer. So, so it's up. If it's still freezing, I apologize. Try back in a couple of days, and it should work itself out. I hate to put a video out there that I know there are some glitches with, but I think I've done it before, and I've just like re-uploaded the video and re-upload other copies of it, and it just takes time. I don't know what this glitch is on YouTube, but I'm hoping that now that it's in the public and set to public, it'll work itself out faster, because I don't know if maybe YouTube slacks off on, fully processing unlisted videos, although it says it's high definition processed, but I don't know, it certainly is not at the end. It kind of falls apart. But everybody's really understanding during the premiere. It was so fun to hang out with people, especially for 2 hours. Having 2 hours to chat with people. I took my phone outside because it's beautiful outside today, and I was like sitting in the sun and like responding on my phone, and I'm a mess trying to type on my phone because I do this. I think if you're over a certain age, you do not have the gene that can go to like that. My kids will be like, their thumbs are like going like lightning, and it's like, I can't. Oh, how? I'm like like a grandma texting. No offense to grandmas. You know, they're probably texting faster than I am. So yeah, so it was fun. It was fun. I couldn't stay outside too long because it was too frustrating to try to do that on my phone, and I wouldn't be able to see the screen on my laptop with how bright the sun was. It was very bright and sunny and warm. So nice. I walked like 4 miles today with the dog. She was loving it. I was loving it. It was nice. And yeah. Yeah, so that's up. And the next couple of card making videos I'm going to do, I think I'm going to do some masculine cards with those Dollar Tree stickers that look like leather and metal. And then I think I'll do some floral cards like Mother's Day. So those are the two next ones I think I'm going to be doing. And those will be shorter because I'll be focusing it on like a sticker pack. And so I could probably grab them. I think they're right in, let me grab them. I'll show you them. So that way if you're at the Dollar Tree and you want to grab these and play along, they're right here. I actually could see them. They're right within, they're right in my eye shot. So these two, I picked these up. They're kind of puffy. They kind of look like metal. I'm going to try not to get the glare from my light, but I thought they were really pretty. And we have some guys having birthdays in my family, and then we got Father's Day coming up. So I thought that would be a good opportunity to make some cards and use those nice kind of timeless vintage ephemera stickers. And of course, I'm not saying you can't make these for women. Make them for women. I know women and men both like, you can't call something masculine or feminine right now. I don't want to offend anybody. But I think more when I would say my style, well, not today because I'm wearing my son's old flannel shirt, but like when I think of like my creative style or how I dress like in the summer when I can choose whatever I want to wear because I'm not too cold, I definitely lean to a more feminine style. I'm just saying it was kind of like more florals, more brighter colors, and for a masculine style, I'm meaning like more muted tones, more earth tones, darker colors. But that's all I mean by that. So, gosh, don't send me a letter. And then these florals I thought would be really pretty for a Mother's Day card. And so those are what I'm planning next. So if you want to grab those stickers, or if you have something in your stash similar, or you want to die cut some things and have them ready and craft along, then you can do that. I found a cool box. And I know a lot of you will appreciate this because if you're a box aficionado, as Irma Bombeck said, my mother never met a box she didn't like. I totally feel that comment. So this was from a perfume collection that we got my daughter Lila for Christmas, and it's kind of a scam though. So you get this, and then was crazy expensive. And then you're supposed to be able to trade in as a certificate inside to trade in for a full-size perfume. So you get to sample, so you get sample sizes of these, so you can figure out what you like, and then you go into Sephora and you can exchange it. And so Lila went in to exchange it to choose the one she wanted, and they only had 2 available out of these in the size that was for the promotion, I guess, the full-size bottle. They had like extra big ones, but that was it. And so the one she wanted, they didn't have. So she said, well, can I pay the difference and get the larger one because I have the certificate for this size? Can I pay the difference up to the other size? And they wouldn't let her do that, which I thought was, I think I would have spoken up on that because that's not what the deal was. The deal was these are products they stock and you're able to exchange them. They didn't offer to order it for her. They said she would have to go to another store. So she just chose another one, which was kind of a bummer because you couldn't redeem them online, which I thought was just, they want you back in the store. They want you back in the store to spend some money. But anyway, the box was really cool. This show is just called Sat Chat. Lindsay talks about shady business practices. But it's got this sleeve, and it's got this tray, and this is really sturdy. It ought to be for you pay for that perfume. And I think this would be just a nice thing to store any sort of like pastel or crayon or something like that, because you can just pull it out and then have this whole tray right on your desk. And I think mini ink pads or like gelato, something you want to rifle around, maybe even embellishments. I don't know. I thought that was kind of nice. And the other thing is you could actually sit it on a shelf and have something on top of it, as long as it wasn't too heavy, and then you could just be able to pull the drawer out and not disturb the things that are on top. So if you did have this on a shelf and it was kind of like, you know, you had every square inch full, I think you could make use of that. So I thought that box was neat. I thought I would share that. Yeah, really grasping for things to talk about this week, I guess. What I did, let me see if I have any notes here of anything different. I was going to curl my hair today, but my curling iron had gone missing, so I think that one of my girls must have grabbed it out of my bathroom. I got my vaccine scheduled. Actually, my husband scheduled it for me this morning. I am just so, yeah, that, I think making appointments, that's also something that I avoid. So him knowing my tendencies, he got online and found a vaccine appointment for me. So that's good. And something that is not good, speaking of shady business practices, I should have talked about that when I talked about the perfume box. So there was a great deal on Prismacolor pencils last weekend, and they were like, the set of 150 was down to like $65. Now I've been using Prismacolor since I was 5. I love Prismacolor pencils. I used to use the Barrel, and then they changed to Sanford, and I bought a set of 144 when like in the late 90s, because my pencils were like nubs. And that was expensive back then. I think it was like 144, and I think maybe 120 of them were Prismacolor pencils, and then the other ones were like, so there might have been some very thins in there. I'm not sure. There was definitely a full set of drawing pencils and some blenders and some odds and ends. It was their anniversary edition. And then a few years later, I kept hearing like really bad things about Prismacolor, how the quality control was awful, and that really made me sad, because all the pencils I had were USA made, and I know they had moved their manufacturing plant. I don't know if they moved one to Canada and one to Mexico. I hadn't heard about the Canada one until recently, but I know they had started making them in Mexico. And other than just buying a few open stock ones, I really hadn't had any of the newer Prismacolors. And so a couple of years ago, after hearing so much controversy, I was like, well, I'm going to see for myself if they really are as bad as people said. So I think I was on Blick, and they had a manga set for like, I'm thinking it was like $7. And I think it had like 24 colors. I mean, it was a deal that I just couldn't pass up. It was a really good deal. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to try it. It's from Blick. It's going to be legitimate. It's not going to be a fake. Because I was also hearing about like fakes being on Amazon. And so I got them, I sharpened them, I tried them, and they come pre-sharpened now. They didn't used to come pre-sharpened, and they were great. They worked really well. Some of the colors didn't match the original Prismacolor colors, but I figured over 20 years, I mean, yeah, things change, pigments go, become unavailable. Companies reformulate, and I was really happy with them. And then I saw that 150 set dropped to like $58, and I grabbed it. I ordered it, and they were perfect. They came in, they were great, and I basically kept them in the box until this office got finished, till we had our addition on. Jackson moved out of this this was his bedroom, and he got one of the upstairs rooms, so he's no longer a cellar dweller. I felt bad that he was in the basement, but for a couple of years. So I took over this office, and then I'm like, well, because a lot of my pencils were short, I couldn't use the spice rack container. I had them in baskets because they would fall down below where I could see them. And so I put my new 150 set in there, and my shorties are in baskets, and I have them upstairs on my fun art desk, which I did use my fun art desk last weekend. I'll have you know. I'll talk about, well, hopefully we'll have time to talk about the weekend and what kind of got me out of my funk, because hey, we all need that kind of advice, I think. So I put my 150s in there. I've been using them, sharpening them, no problem. And so last weekend, the price of Prismacolors dropped. I think it was last weekend. Maybe it was the weekend before. Gosh, I think it was last week. I'm not sure. It's been a long week. Or it's been a fast week. So anyways, I thought, well, that's a great price for 150 Prismacolors, $65. I was tempted to buy a set, to have a backup set again, because that's my primary set now. And, but I didn't. I resisted, because I'm like, well, what are the chances I'm going to use up? I have actually, let's be completely honest here, let's not lie, I actually have a bunch of 36 sets, because AC Moore had the 36 sets on sale a few years ago, and I think there was a limit of 6, and I think I bought 6 for workshops. And I did end up selling one set to a friend who wanted to buy some for their kid for that price, because see, they're expensive to buy a 36 set sometimes. They're definitely not $10. So I sold her a set for $10. That's what I paid. And so I got those for backups, and I'm like, chances are the colors I'm going to use up the fastest, like white, indigo, terracotta, they're all in that 36 set. I really don't need to get a 150 set. I just need to slow my roll here. And So I didn't buy them, but I did know of 2 people that bought the set. There were other coloring book channels on YouTube, and they got perfect pencils. They were great. They were the real deal. They weren't fakes. And so I'm like, well, I'm gonna mention that on my community tab on YouTube, the sale, so that people can know. And the price was going up and down. It was like watching the stock market. They were like, they were 65 and 66 and 67, and they went up as high as like 81, and then they back down to about 68, and now they're like at 150 something. It's crazy. One person said, a lot of people said they got them, they're fine, they're great, thanks for the link, you know, they were perfect. And then I got one person that said they got fakes in the comments, and that really ticked me off, because not that they said that, it ticked me off that Amazon was selling fakes. So hopefully they returned their pencils that were fake. I've heard there's a problem with fakes on Amazon, but it was like sold and shipped by Amazon. That was the listing that I shared, unless Amazon like repopulates listings with other listings, which I think they do sometimes. So man, that just stinks, you know? So I guess definitely check your purchases when you buy something off Amazon. Make sure you have the real McCoy if it's like a brand name product like that, because if you wait until you've used up what you have to put, you know, to integrate a new set of pencils into rotation, and you realize that they're fake or something's wrong with them, then you'll be beyond like the return period. So it was sold and shipped from Amazon, so they will, you know, they have free returns for everything like that. So just buyer beware. I just want to put it out there, since I went out and put it on my community tab that there was cheap Prismacolors. Most people got good ones, but apparently there were some dodgy things. So I feel bad about that. So check your pencils if you order them. Make sure they're the real deal, and if not, then request a return receipt so you don't get fakes, I guess. Man, why people shouldn't have to worry about that? That's just too bad. Especially sold and shipped from Amazon, where they should be getting their stuff from like a legitimate Prisma. They should be getting them directly from Prismacolor. Why would they buy them from someone else? Because that would be the cheapest price, right? It would be coming directly from Prismacolor. I don't know how that works. Amazon's weird. It's very, very strange. And there was something else I wanted to mention. Oh shoot, what was it, guys? I said it and then I said, but I'll have to get back to it. Oh, how I got over my little slump. So I was just feeling just so crappy. And so Saturday, I'm like, well, my sister usually has Easter dinner, and but I hadn't talked to her. Like I mentioned, I need to text her, and we hadn't set anything up. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like 2 days before Easter. I don't want to like, I don't want to be like, hey, here's 5 more people to cook for. You know, I didn't want to like show up on her doorstep and be like, hey, here's a bunch more people to cook for. Jackson and Lila were down there working anyway, because they work at my parents' store, where my sister also works. So they're all together. They're all in that bubble, and I just didn't want to like, you know, thrust a huge amount of people in there to cook. And I know we would have been very welcome, and I'm not, yeah. And so I just kind of felt like, oh, this is last minute. I don't want to, but I also didn't want to have her expecting us and then, you know, us not show up. So anyway, we decided to stay home, and I went to the grocery store, got a change of scenery, which was nice. And yeah, we actually didn't end up having Easter dinner on Easter. I cooked it the next day because we're all just chilling out and enjoying, you know, just junk food basically. And I had it the next day, and that was good. And it was a lot less stressful, and just getting out of the house, I think, even though it was insane in town day before Easter, it was good for my mental health. So sometimes you just need a change of scenery, I guess. Thanks for watching. I'm out of time. Happy crafting, everyone.